it's your girl Sierra, CC, whatever you want to say. And if you're new, don't forget to go ahead and smash that subscribe button, like, comment down below. And if you're not new, then welcome back. So as you guys seen in the title, I want to give you guys the tips and tricks on how to survive flight attendant training. So this was a requested video from one of my subscribers. So I wanted to go ahead and put this video out there for anyone who is on their way to training, who just got their CJO. If you just got your CJO, then congratulations to you, love, and you're on your way to getting your wings. So I have a bit of notes here, and I just wanted to come on here and show you guys, or tell you guys, let you guys know just some tips, maybe some of the things that will help you ease your mind as you're going into flight attendant training. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so first thing first is, of course, how are you going to get to training? Well, most airlines, and I say most because not all, I don't know which ones don't, but most of the airlines will fly you out to training. They will set up your transportation for you to get to training. Again, I'm not sure which airlines don't, but I'm pretty sure most of them do. So again, they will fly you out to training to get you trained. Now, some of you might ask, how long is training? Well, training is typically anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. Regional airlines, they're typically 4 to 5 weeks, and then your regionals last usually 6 to 8 week range. I want to say Delta is the longest. I think their training is about 8 weeks, I want to say. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure theirs is the longest. My training was actually 4 weeks with my regional carrier. So again, that's still a very long time, but it goes by quicker than you think it will. So don't let the, oh, it's 6 weeks, oh, it's 4 weeks, oh, it's 8 weeks. Don't let that scare you, because it goes by really fast. Now, training is going to be the hardest, stressful, tiring, enjoyable. Training is going to send you through so much emotions, but it's going to be worth it in the end, I promise you. So the first tip that I'm actually going to give you guys, and you might be surprised at what this first tip may be, but some people do get sent home for this, okay? Listen up. Stay away from drama, okay? Drama is not your friend, drama is your enemy, and I want you guys to understand that. Now, you want to say, what drama could there be? I'm not going to speak on that, I'm not going to go into detail, but there can be drama. Now, my training class was actually very close, and we had little to no drama, and if there was drama, it was nipped in the bud ASAP, and you didn't even know about it. But at the same time that you're in training, there could be a class before you, there could be a class after you, and you may hear some of the things. Just don't get involved. Stay away from drama, because that is the quickest way for you to get sent home. Now, another thing that I would tell you guys, just from me going to training, is do not overpack. Do not overpack. I want to say you should use at the most 2 suitcases. So you have to pack your life, or what you think you may need, in 2 suitcases to last you for 4 to 8 weeks, however long you're going to training. But do not overpack, because you have to think in mind, you have to keep in mind that you're gonna come home with more than what you left with. So you're not gonna come home with just 2 suitcases. You're gonna come home with all your training material. You're gonna come home with your fam. You're also gonna come home with another suitcase that they will give you in training, and a tote bag. So luckily, I lived 2 hours from where I was training. So an issue for me not overpacking was kind of easier, because I wouldn't have to pay for an extra bag going home. Now, mind you, as you are flying, typically you get 2 free check bags, but if you have that third, then you will have to pay for that. So again, do not overpack. And all of the stuff that I packed, I didn't even wear, because we didn't really do much. We went to class, we came back to our hotel, and we studied, and we may have went out once or twice on the weekends. And that was it. Half the stuff in my suitcase I did not wear. So do not overpack, because you will regret it when it's time to go home. Now, once you've received your CJO, go ahead and research the bases that they offer. I know you probably did this before you actually went to your interview, which I hope you did that. So if you haven't seen how to become a flight attendant or the steps to become a flight attendant, I will link that down below, because research is one of the things that you should do before you actually get started. So hopefully you've researched their bases and see what bases that you would think that you want to possibly be placed in. So when you're in training, you will pick your bases. So make sure you have in mind what will be your first choice, what will be your second choice. So make sure you already have that, or you've already done the research, a little bit of the research, because once you get your base in training, you want to go ahead and start looking for a crash pad, whether you're going to move there, look for an apartment. Just make sure that that is one thing that you kind of have in the back of your mind, because you do not want to add any more stress to yourself while you're in training than what you already have trying to pass training. So make sure you kind of know what bases you want to go to, and if you know what base, then have your options in the back of your mind. Also, bases are assigned by companies' need, so just don't stick to one base. Keep an open mind when it comes to bases. I actually got my second choice and I ended up loving it, which was the one closer to my home. I actually wanted to go to Charlotte for my first one, but I actually got Cincinnati and I ended up loving it. So keep an open mind when it comes to bases. Okay, so now you got your CJO and you're wondering, is training paid? Now, most trainings are not paid. On the other hand, my regional airline, we did have paid training. So it was kind of a breath of fresh air to know that I didn't necessarily have to worry about if my bills are going to be paid, and if I could do this and money wasn't the option of keeping me from going to training. So I was lucky, but most trainings are not paid. Well, most trainings give you a stipend. So they'll give you maybe $100 to $140 a week for you to buy food and survive off of. Now, typically breakfast is included with the hotel that they put you in, and maybe lunch or dinner is included, but then you have one meal that you have to fend for yourself. So how it worked for me when I was in training, the hotel provided breakfast and then they provided dinner as well. But honestly, it was the same rotation for 4 weeks, so we got sick of it maybe after the first week. So keep in mind that you will have to you can use that money to buy food. Honestly, you're gonna live like a college student while you're in training. I have never ate so much instant rice in my life before I went to training. I literally can't eat it most of the time now. So if your training is not paid, which they should let you know before you come to training, start saving before you actually go, because you do not want to add stress of bills and how you're going to survive while you're in training. Your main focus needs to be on learning the material that they give you while you're in training. Now, if you have a significant other, that is a plus. I'm not saying go out and get a boyfriend just so you can, manage while you're in training. But again, it was kind of easier on my part because I did have a husband at home and my training was paid. So again, some trainings are paid, some trainings aren't. So if I could give you a ballpark of how much to bring, maybe a few $100s if your training isn't paid, just so you can survive. And maybe you want to go out to eat with your friends that you meet in training. Maybe you guys want to go out and have a drink or so while you're in training to celebrate, your accomplishments that you're meeting in training. So a few $100s would be okay I would suggest to bring. And to touch on hotels, the hotels that they put you in are usually pretty nice, and you will have a roommate. I don't know too many airlines that you won't have a roommate unless you're just the oddball out. Unless you're just like the odd number of the class and you just fall to not have a roommate. That happened to a few in my training class. But as people leave, they will kind of put a roommate with you. If someone were to leave and a spot open in someone else's room, they will typically put you together. At least that's how it worked with mine. And if you're a guy and you're the only guy in the class, then of course you will have your own room. But if there's another guy, then you guys will have roommates. Now, the situation with the roommates could be a blessing or it could be a hell disaster. I'm not just not even gonna lie. It could be sent from heaven, sent from hell. And luckily, hey Ashley, my roommate was awesome. We're actually still really close. We still check up on each other. We still talk, and I run into her in the airport all the time. So I was lucky enough to get a bomb AF roommate. But that's not always the case. And if you do run into the situation where you're a roommate and you don't really get along, try to just make it work. Don't make it more complicated than what it is, because that could get you sent home. But you just do not want that to be a reason, because as a flight attendant, you have to get along with people. You have to be able to cope with different people's personalities. So if that is, try to just go study with other people, stay out the room as long as you can. When you are in the room, kind of stay to yourself. I mean, anything that can help you get through that process, just get through that process, because you don't want that to be the reason that you get sent home. Now, schedules in training can be pretty complicated. They will fluctuate usually. I know in my training class, one day we had to be there at noon, one day we had to be there at 6 in the morning, one day we had to be there at 8, one day we had to be there at 9. And they're just getting you ready, because as a flight attendant starting out, you will be on reserve, so you never know what time that you'll have to be to the airport. Even if you have a line, if you're a line holder, you just never know what could change, what could happen. You know, you may have to report to the airport at 4 in the morning. So they just want to get your body going and seeing how that it will be once you get out of training. Now, training usually is 6 days a week with 1 day off. In my training, we were actually off on weekends except for the first week. We actually went 6 days and was off 1 on the first week, and then the rest out, we only went Monday through Friday, so that was a plus for my training experience. But usually training is about 6 days and you're off 1 day. So again, they're just trying to get you ready for how it is to be a flight attendant. Another good tip is to stay focused. Try not to get distracted with everything that's going on around you. I know you're going to miss your family. I know you're going to want to talk to them. You're used to being on social media. But a good tip is to just stay focused and try to sway away from social media. Try to stay off of social media. You get a lot of information while you are in training, and you just do not want to get off track, be distracted for something that you worked so hard for. So class sizes depends on the airline. Sometimes they'll be small, sometimes they'll be big. My class was a class of 42, so we had a fairly big class. And class is either lecture, PowerPoints, videos, it's all of the above, and you're honestly gonna feel like you're back in school again. So get ready. So just be prepared, stay focused, and try to keep the outside while you're in training. That will help you tremendously. Make sure you study, but do not overstudy. That is one thing that I would stress, is do not overstudy. There were people that were staying up, you know, all night long studying, and then they would come to class and they would be really tired. Do not overstudy. Now, you do need to study. Me, I did not really have to study. I am not one to study, but I am the exception, not the rule. You need to study. So make sure that you study, get a study partner, make sure that you're understanding and getting what you are given in class. Make sure you're understanding what they're teaching in class, because that is very important. That is how you pass. That is what's going to be on your exams. So do not overstudy, but make sure you study. And also make sure you eat. Make sure you eat and get a good rest, because you cannot fall asleep in class. If you fall asleep in class, that is another good way to get sent home, because they are not playing. That is actually an FAA rule, that you have to be awake and present during these trainings, because if you're not, then you know you're not going to get the material that you need to get in order to legally be a flight attendant. Lecture for me was the hardest thing for me to stay awake. So what actually helped me is going to the back of the class and actually standing up or doodling in like a notebook or something. Just make sure you get well rested and do not overstudy, but study. Now, the materials that you will need for training, they will give you everything. You do not have to bring anything besides maybe some highlighters, some pens, maybe a 3-subject notebook, and whatever you may need to help you stay organized. Flashcards, sticky notes, things like that. Now, speaking on materials, usually before you go to training, they give you a training packet. Now, some people blow this training packet off, some people actually look at it. I suggest you look at it because they will give you the information that you need before you come. Some airlines do give you materials in that pre-training packet that you will have to study and know before you come. So it may be terminology, it may be airport codes, it may be certain announcements that you have to make. It just depends on that airline. So with my airline, there was material in the package that we had to study and somewhat know once we got there. And you never know if you're gonna get a test the first day. Some airlines do test you on the first day, and it's typically the airport codes, and you don't want to mess up on your first day. So just make sure you take the material in those pre-training packets very seriously, study them, look over, and just, you know, get your mind right before you go to training. So do not blow off the pre-training packets. Exams, because you will take a lot of exams while you're in training, and that's just what it is. So make sure you're taking notes, make sure you're looking over your homework if you get any. If you get a study packet, make sure you're looking over and studying with your roommate. Have study groups with other people in your classmate. Just make sure you study, because exams are another way that you can get sent home. Usually the exams are multiple choice, true, false, or maybe like fill in the blank. I don't think we had any write-in questions on our exams. I don't know if any other airline, but again, they're typically multiple choice, true, false, or like fill in the blank matching type of thing. When your instructors are going over the material for your exams, be sure to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No question is a dumb question. And what they are teaching you is exactly what's on your exam. So make sure you're paying attention and doing your homework and taking those notes. Flashcards are another good thing that helped me as far as like learning pre-flights and stuff. So just make sure that you're paying attention in class to pass those exams, because you do have to pass. Most airlines is with the 80 or 85. Some airlines you do have to pass with the 90. So just make sure that you're paying attention so you can get those passing grades, because once you fail your first one, you get one retake, and typically you have to score higher than what it is. So if the passing score has to be an 80, but you failed that test, then they may want you to score 85 in order for you to pass. It just depends on the airline. And if you fail a second one, then I believe you get a retake, and then if you fail that retake, then you get sent home. But you just do not want to fail any exam, because once you fail your first exam, the rest of training is going to be very, very, very stressful, and you just don't want that. So just make sure that you're paying attention to get those passing scores. Now, touching on the retakes, you will get the night to study, and then you will come back the next day and you will take the test over, whether it's the same test or whether they switch it up a little bit, but that's usually how retakes work. Now, attendance is important. So let's touch on attendance real quick. Attendance is very, very important. You are your own boss when you're out there flying, and you do have to be on time. On time is one of the main things in the aviation business, and if you're not on time, then it's a problem. So attendance is really, really, really important while you're in training. You want to make sure you're on time to class. You want to make sure that you're on time from breaks. You want to make sure that you're on time from lunch, because you will get written up. And if you get written up, again, that's not a good look. That could get you sent home. If you're late all the time, if you're late just once, it just depends on how strict your training is, then that's either a write-up or a kaboot out the door. So just make sure you're on time. Now, if you live near where you're training at, then you may have the option to actually go home at night. Why I wouldn't recommend this is because that's just a chance to be late. So for example, when I was in training, you could drive to your training class. You could have driven to the training facility and had your car there. Now, mind you, that is very convenient. You can bring your car. But some of the girls that actually brought their car actually rode the van shuttle, because that was a way that they can make sure that they were on time and not lag behind, like, oh, well, I still have, 4 or 5 minutes, and then you end up being late. So if you do drive to training, or if you live near, I would just suggest to just stay in the hotel and ride the hotel shuttle, or the shuttle that they give you to get the training, because that's just going to guarantee that you're going to be on time, because you do not want to be late. Do not be late, okay? If you get sick while you're in training, try your best to push through it, because you cannot miss any of that information. If you miss just one day, you're behind tremendously, and you will probably get sent home because you missed that information. Usually if they may let you come back, it just all depends on the airline. If it was that, you know, measure that you absolutely got really sick and you could not, you know, make it to class. But if you get sick, just push through and it will be worth it in the end. Now, your classroom attire is usually business casual. So usually in that pre-training packet, they give you what you'll need to wear. Just make sure you wear that. Make sure you follow those guidelines. Make sure you do not try to alter it on what they ask you to wear, because honey, you'll probably get written up for that too. So it's usually business attire, khaki, nice dress pants, nice blouse, you know, things of that nature. Or they may ask you to actually wear a suit. So we had to wear gray suits while we were in training, whether it was pants, skirt, you know, but we had to have either a cardigan or a blazer on. You know, we actually had to dress as if we were in a flight attendant. We'll have a dress down day for the day that you do your drills, but they will let you know when that is. So classroom attire is usually business casual. So to touch on your classroom attire, you will have compliance checks, image checks. So it's basically when they line everyone up and they basically look at what you look like. I mean, pretty simple. They look at if your hair is pulled back, if your hair is short enough to be down, if it's okay. You make sure you don't have any flyaways, make sure your makeup is okay, make sure your pants aren't too long, make sure your skirt isn't too short. So they look at all of these things. So that is one thing that you can get a write-up for, or you can get points taken out for. You just do not want anything to affect you while you're in training. So just make sure that you're dressing and meeting the guidelines every day. Do not slack off. Do not try to take a shortcut, because honey, they will find it. So just make sure that you are looking the part and looking the way that they are asking you to look. When you're in the training facility, make sure you're acting like an adult. And you would say like, Sierra, why are you saying that? I know that. Because there are some people that like to not act their age when they should, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because there is always someone watching when you're in training. You may think because you're in your hotel, no one can see you. Honey, they are watching you even at your hotel. So don't be that person that goes out and comes in really late, drunk and stumbling, because they will write you up. They will send you home. They will do any of that. You don't have a job yet. You have a CJO, a conditional job offer, where you have to pass in order for you to get that job offer, okay? So there's always someone watching you, and at the same time, they're trying to figure out if they can trust you. When you're out flying, you don't have a boss. You have a captain, a first officer, and maybe another few flight attendants. So they want to make sure that they can trust you to do the right thing and to represent the brand the way that they want you to represent the brand. So act as if someone is always watching. Act like an adult, okay? So just do not slack off. Just do what you need to do to get through training, okay? Now, you have went through all the hell of training. You have cried, you have laughed, you have made new friends, you have said, do I still want to do this? Is this for me? You have went through all of these emotions, and now it's graduation. So everything that you possibly could go through, you probably went through in training, and now here it is, graduation, and you finished. Now you can pick your suitcase, you can get your luggage, you probably fitted for your uniform, so you probably already have your uniform. So you've done it. Typically, with regionals, you'll have an IOE. So after you graduate, you go on the in-operational experience, and this is where another flight attendant is flying with you to basically train you and to see how you use what you learned in training. So once you do that, then you're on your own and you're out there flying, having fun, being a new flight attendant, and congratulations. So after graduation or after training is done, they usually give you 3 to 4 days to relocate. You can use those as just off days, or you can actually use them to relocate. Once your relocation days are used and done with, then it's game on, honey. You're in this world of aviation, and have fun with it. You know, go out there, have fun, use those flight benefits, and make sure you're applying what you learned in training. And the last thing, as a flight attendant, fresh out of training, you will be on reserve. So yeah, it's hard, but you can do it. Just don't let it get to you. You know, sometimes you may not know, you know, what the day has in store. Sometimes you may know ahead. You just never know. but reserve life can be fun at the same time. Just don't let it get to you. You got this. If you made it through training, you can make it through a reserve. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video helped you guys or ease your mind or let you know just a few things of anyone going to training. Again, if you just got a CJO, congratulations, and go out there and have fun. If you're not new, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. As a reminder, I do post notification shoutouts at the end of every single vlog. So if you want a chance to be shouted out in my next vlog, go ahead and turn on the post notifications. Once you do that, comment down below for your chance to be shouted out in my next video. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching. I love and appreciate each and every one of you guys, and see you in my next video.